Completing the square is a handy tool when you're trying to factor. Sometimes you're going to get to a situation where you've got x squared plus bx, and you're going to want to know what to add to it so you can make a perfect square. You remember x plus a squared is x squared plus 2ax plus a squared. So you've just got to find out how these relate so that you can turn this into a perfect square trinomial. And it turns out that if you take the middle term and divide by 2 and square it, this will always give you a perfect square trinomial. Let's try this. Let's multiply this out and see if this works. So I have x, b over 2. Okay. X, b over 2. So let's multiply using the area model. Let's see what this turns to be. This square right here is x times x, or x squared. This square right here is b over 2 times x. This square right here is b over 2 times x. And this term right here is b squared over 4. So when I add these, I get x squared. B over 2 plus b over 2 is just bx plus b squared over 4. Now I can rewrite b squared over 4 as b over 2 squared. So what value completes a square for x squared minus 10x? Well, in this case, we don't worry about the sign. You're going to take 10 divided by 2 and square it. So this is 5 squared, or 25. So if I have x squared minus 10x plus 25, this will factor into x. I'm going to keep that sign. And then whatever is in this last square, sometimes you're going to need to solve equations by completing the square. Now to do this, you're going to get all of the x terms on one side, all the constant terms on the other side. And then you're going to make sure the coefficient of the x is 1. If it's not 1, you need to divide through by the coefficient. And then you're going to complete the square by adding b over 2 squared to both sides. Now when you do b squared over 2, make sure you square both numerator and denominator. Then you factor the trinomial. The factored trinomial will be x, in this case, plus b over 2 squared, and that will be equal to whatever your constants are on the other side. You're going to find the square roots, and when you do the square roots, you're going to get a plus or minus on this side, and then you're going to solve for x. Suppose I have 4x squared plus 10x is equal to 46. The first thing I need to do is to get all of the constants on the right side. So I have 4x squared is 36. Now I need to get the coefficient of x squared to be 1, so I need to divide both sides through by 4. So x squared is equal to 9. So now I take the square root, and when I take the square root, I have x is plus or minus the square root of 9, or plus or minus 3. Now, this one is kind of special because this is a perfect square. I can rewrite this side right here as x plus 2 squared. So when I take the square root of both sides, I'm going to have x plus 2 is equal to, I take the square root of 25 is 5. So I need that plus or minus in there. So I'm going to have two problems. I'm going to have x plus 2 is equal to positive 5, and x plus 2 is equal to negative 5. So for this one, x is 3, and x is negative 7. You do need to check these. So 3 squared plus 4 times 3 plus 4 is 9 plus 12 plus 4, which is indeed 25. For this one, negative 7 squared plus 4 times negative 7 plus 4. So this is 49 minus 28 plus 4, and this is indeed 25. Now what if I have something like this? What are the solutions to 3x squared minus 12x plus 6 equal to 0? The first thing you're going to do is get all of your not variables to the right side. So all my constants to the right. 3x squared minus 12x is equal to negative 6. Now the coefficient of x is not 1, so I need to factor that 3 out. So this is going to be x squared minus 4x is equal to negative 6. And now I'm going to divide both sides through by 3. So I have x squared minus 4x is equal to negative 2. Now you see how I leave that space there? Because I'm going to take this number right here, 4, divided by 2, and square it. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2 squared. So I'm going to add 2 squared to both sides. So my left side becomes x minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 2. So x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 2. Now, sometimes we're going to throw more complicated problems in, but they're really not. If I ask you to find this in Vertex form, what I'm really asking you to do is to solve this so that you have, so you find the zeros to start with. So let's just see where this is, let's see, let's not do it that way. Let's do it this way. Y is equal to x squared plus 4x. Now I'm going to move this negative 6 way over here because I want to complete this square right here. To complete this square, I take 4 divided by 2 and square it. That is 2 squared. All right, so this part becomes x plus 2 squared, and this becomes minus 2. So this is the equation in vertex form. The vertex is negative 2, negative 2. The axis of symmetry is x equal to negative 2. The direction of opening, well, since this coefficient is positive, it opens up. And the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is going to be when x is 0. It's easier to go back to the original form. When x is 0, y is going to be negative 6.